Hello and welcome to Hickory. My name is Justin. I'm the owner of Team 53. I partner with Coach Dave Academy and Impel Motorsports to bring you this week's Learn to Drive video for late model stocks at Hickory as part of iRacing's 2025 Season 2 Week 5 official series. If you guys can, make sure you hit like and subscribe. I'm just a small-time racer here in Wisconsin. It does a ton to help me out. Um, Truth be told, by late model this year, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to run it. You guys have heard me say for a few weeks that my daughter really wants to race this summer, and I think I've finally come to grips with her racing all summer long, and me potentially looking at maybe a couple shows here or there, or you know maybe we'll get a little crazy and we'll build out a go kart and go racing with her. But it's looking like right now it's just going to be her racing. So whatever you guys can do, we definitely appreciate it. You can head over to our Team 53 Discord. You can sign up for our short track season pass. I'm discounting those down 25% for the remainder, 25% off for the remainder of the season. So, it should be right around like $40, something like that, which is a great deal. Head over to our Discord, do that through PayPal. We'll get you guys hooked up with that as well. As well as joining the Discord, we're going to be doing our 500 subscriber giveaway this week. So it's definitely worth it to head over there. Got some really cool stuff. Head over to Discord for more information there. So we're going to go out here for qualifying. You'll see here, I'm going to point my car kind of at this black mark on the wall, and I'm going to tire heat all the way along the top of the track. When you guys are in official iRacing practice sessions, you got to keep your tire heat down to the apron. Otherwise, they're going to black flag you and your laps aren't going to count. But when you go for the official qualifying session, you're able to go up here to the top. So just keep that in mind. I'm just going to tire heat to the backstretch. We're going to get going here. We're going to go high here in 3 and 4. Lap 1 is going to be kind of a throwaway lap. I just felt like there wasn't quite as much grip as what I would have liked. So we're going to go and just kind of throw this lap away, test kind of some of the grip. And then we're going to go high here in 3 and 4, get a good run up off the corner. Speed at the start finish line's 98 miles an hour, and you can see we're about maybe 1-2 squares off the wall here. I work with a lot of people on iRacing, right? And I watch some lower split races during the week with people that I'm working with. And one of the big things that I've noticed is that a lot of guys that are struggling with iRating and struggling with consistency on iRacing are struggling with consistency in their lines. So you will never see a fast car at Hickory that's running the straightaway down here unless they're passing someone. And even then, one might argue. But they're never down here middle of the track. They're never down here on the bottom lane. You got to get up next to the wall. You got to just kind of get that figured out and what that feel looks like. One of the things that I have a lot of guys do that I'm working with, if they're struggling finding the wall, is I have them go out and I tell them, keep going closer to the wall, go closer and closer and closer until you hit it. And then when you hit it, back it down to where you think you should be. And then the next lap, go a little bit higher and a little bit higher until you find that wall. And our whole goal in that is to show them how much more of the track they can use. So like here at Hickory, when you look inside the car, there's kind of this little skip patch, line that goes there. You can line up like your hood with this white line. Like you got to find something that you can use to know I'm where I need to be. And the only way to do that is to run laps, then go look in your far chase and see how far away you are from the wall. So we got that kind of under control. So make sure you're using as much of this track as you possibly can. You're going to see here, there's like this little red line on the outside wall. You can kind of see it right there, just past the start finish line, right across from victory lane. That's actually going to be where we start to turn in for turn 1, is going to be right here. Start to turn in. We're going to bring it in. We're going to lift here right around pit exit, kind of where the Hoosier flag is, right before the last set of dash lines before the corner starts to turn. So we start to turn in. We're going to put this right rear tire right on these dashed lines. We're going to drive it down here into the center. The left side tires are going to cross over the yellow line. You're going to feel like a little divot in the track, and when you go through that bump, that's where you're going to throttle up and drive up off the corner. So here we go. We're going into the corner, feeding it just a little bit of throttle, and then right here is the center of this corner. And we're going to hit this divot, and as we go through it, we're going to throttle up the car. So we're sending the weight from the front of the car to the back, and that's going to help us keep from bottoming out as bad. So now we're going to throttle up, and notice how I'm just kind of holding my throttle here about 75%. The other big thing that I work with, and I'm going to show you guys a lap that was a half a tenth slower than this lap. And we're going to look just at the throttle positioning here in turn one. Sometimes you guys think that you have to get on throttle to go fast, when in reality, the worst thing that you can do is to throttle up completely. So here we go, partial throttle around the corner. As we come up out of the corner, we're going to full throttle it, and we'll drive down the backstretch. We get to Hickory here on the backstretch. We start to turn in for turn 3. Give it some tugs. Drive it down Carolina Simworks sign. We're going to lift. Drag a little bit of brake. Now we're going to bring this right side of this car down, and we're going to cross over. And we're going to grab that left front right here on the apron, and we're going to let that apron really drive us around the corner. So the apron's going to drive us around. And now it's just going to be a hard drive off for a 9.79 lap. So let's take a look inside the car really quick, and then I want to go show you guys that other lap that was just a little bit slower. So here you go. All right, there is our 9.79 lap. Let's go to this 0.28. This is just like a half a tenth slower. But I think it's really interesting that when we look at turn 1, so we have our turn in points the same. We're going to get the right rear on this dash line. We're slightly lower on the track. But I think it's all going to be this center exit. If I were to look, that's where I would say we lost time. So we go through the divot, and you see how much more throttle I have here, right here through the center. Bar is almost full. And then you're going to see as we start to come up out of this corner, right? So I'm at full throttle. I have to lift for part of this because the rear end starts to come around. So a lot of you guys, like I said, you think you've got to get right to full throttle, and you get right to full throttle, but then you're like, I have to get back out or the car is loose. And it's like, well, yeah, the rear tires can't grip. You got to slow it down. Slow it down, give those tires the ability to grip, and your lap times will likely improve. You can slow it down too much, but at that point, like, if you're running it fairly close to what you were, you'll improve your lap times. So we've got that. I'm looking for, I think this is the race trim I wanted. So just a short race trim here at Hickory. It's a 100-lap race here at Hickory. So I wouldn't necessarily worry so much about fast lap in this race as I would having car at the end. And if you've run Hickory on iRacing before, you know probably 7 or 8 times out of 10, there's going to be a caution at some point. Unless you're in like a small split or everybody's running super clean. But if everybody's running super clean and you're saving tire, you should be good to go. And what I would do is I would look to save tire until probably about halfway or so. And then once you get past halfway, you should be able to run it a little bit harder. Now with this, right, Hickory is a super momentum track. So where are your passing zones? Passing zone number 1 is right here going into turn 1. A lot of times you'll see guys try and dive bomb into turn 1. It will cause some wrecks, especially center of the corner, or you'll see guys try and show bottom, and the guy on top that might be just a tick slower says, nah, you're not there, and he pulls down in front of him. And then we get right to about right here, center of this corner, and this is where the accident then happens, is that guys get cleared out, they get wrecked. Just right here in the center of the corner seems to be the biggest thing. And then the other obvious passing spot is diving it into 3 here. Trying to think of what I want to say. Diving it into 3 here. is probably one of the easiest passes you'll make, just because you can get in there. But at Hickory, because it's so momentum based, if you're the car on the outside and it's been 20, 25 laps on tires, there's a good chance that you can run the second lane up. Here in the center of the corner, you just run up a lane. There's a good chance that you can make that work at least to defend in the short term. So I would really look at that, and see kind of what you think you can do there. But it's definitely possible. I've seen it done. I've made a lot of passes that way. And if you get a really good split and the second lane starts to come in, you can really make some hay up there in the second lane as long as the guy on the bottom respects your second lane position. So that's kind of the other thing with this. But it's Hickory. It's a tight race. Like I said, you see a lot of bumpers given. It's like that in real life too. So, you can't really get too upset over it. But just the big thing is maintain your pace, maintain your speed, and you'll have a great week. If you guys can head over, like I said, the Team 53 Discord is linked in the description below. Join that. Head over to Impel Motorsports. Grab some Moza products, what they have left. Again, you guys have done a great job of selling those products out, selling them out of something the last 2 months in a row, which is a really cool thing to do. And it really tells me and tells them that we're doing good things here. So head over there. We will see you guys in the next video. And again, head over to the Discord, 25% off Team 53 Season 2 Pass. If you have not already joined, perfect time to do it. And we will see you guys in the next video.